Hello, beasties and ballers. We really apologize for the wait, but this is Conquest Clash 3. I am Skarmeson, and this invitational we've been working on for quite a while. We had some technical gremlins to squash, but we are here now, and joining me on the comms for the first round of this invitational, which we'll explain very shortly, is Mabel.
Hi, Skarmeson. It's me, Mabel. Thank you so much for having me. I've been so excited for this.
I'm very excited for this as well. So, I need to give a rundown of Conquest Clash 3. It's very different from our usual sort of Beastieball tournaments. For a start, it's an invitational. We're not here we're not here for everybody to compete. We're here to basically show off the game, particularly the breadth of this game's team building. The gimmick, if you will, of Conquest Clash is that we've invited 4 of the best players that we know. They each build 3 teams instead of the usual 1. And to progress in a match, they will need to win once with each of the 3 teams that they've built. So, don't want to delay it too much, but because picking the matchup, and this is an open team sheet event, so all the players are aware of all the other players' teams. We should go over our first match, which is gonna be Architect versus Ket.
These are 2 incredibly recognizable players that I frankly have a lot to say about. Don't want to take up too much time talking about them, but if any introduction is necessary, I would like to start by saying Architect, incredibly recognizable name. This is a player that it's virtually impossible to not know him if you follow competitive Beastieball. Just one of the most consistently high-performing players the game has ever seen. I don't know that would be at all an inaccurate thing to say.
I would say that's
Champion of Bring the Heat.
Champion of both Bring the Heats. There was the first Bring the Heat way back at the start of Early Access, and he came in first place in that. And then more recently, this year, in end of January 2026, he also came first in that one, even though the game itself went through quite a lot of very major developments since then.
Right. Despite how much the game changes, protecting his title and everything, and we've seen across all those events so much versatility from him, I'd love to get into it right away.
Hang on, just loading up the teams to show you. Also, check out that extremely beautiful art, which was done for us by Stardust. So, team number 1 from Architect. This is very clearly a mine team with a bunch of boosting, but notably a very mean air down on Pierce our Mantis, which is unusual to see. Do you have any thoughts on that, Mabel?
Yeah, the first time I saw this kind of set, Splinter Stared on our Mantis, was actually a team that I saw from Hallow. And over time I started to see this used more and more. And something that I'm really interested in is, originally, this was actually a pretty tough thing for our Mantis to do and just get to the net on counter serve and survive. But now with this new addition of a reworked Trade and Fortress, it's a counter serve that immediately opens with 12 healing from anything it takes. So immediately off the bat, there's a really aggressive idea here, an immediate threat of a point with the combination of Fortress with Faint Tactical Pass behind it. There's so many ways to just threaten an immediate point with this. I feel like the second we see this team, that's a pattern that it's probably going to be using pretty much immediately.
Another interesting thing to me is the trap synergy and the Hunter Claw there. So, like, while the lead may threaten to get you stuck on the field and nuke you immediately, there's also a lot of deterrence from just tagging out to get rid of those deboosts and those disruptions from say the Pladion here. So yeah, looks like a very scary mine team. What's the next one?
I was taking a look at these myself earlier, and this one I stared at for a very long time. I am so excited to see this one in practice.
It is a fascinating one because you play a lot of very sustain-heavy offense too, and like your faves, Drumpus, Hopra, Drumpus, Masquerade, Hydrome, there are here. But the interesting thing that immediately jumps out is 2 Vigor Beams, which Vigor Beam being the move that scales to your current stamina, your current HP, often considered a bit unreliable, especially as a solo attack. Because
what if you ran it as a solo attack twice?
Twice, 2 of them, but it kind of makes sense because who's hitting into that high drum? There's a double Drumpus and a Torch Pass and a Treat.
Right,
like,
there's
very fascinating
so
to see
much
how that one
support for these between Treat, between Drumpus being played on 2 different things. There's so much self-healing between Hardy and Dig, Restoration, and if you hit away, there's Flex.
Even the red defense boosts, which are not that common to see in competitive because people are scared of Jazz bypassing them, but no, Flight Call out through folks at the bottom should be fascinating. And the third team from Arctech is one with a bit of history.
So sorry for that momentary disruption. Awful weather here. Yes, this third team is an incredibly
Mabel is blipping in and out because of a storm.
As you mentioned earlier, Arctech defended his title in Brady. Right. But this is, with very few changes, the team that took Bring the Heat too.
It is, and it's a immediately recognizable team, as you were saying before you blipped a bit. The biggest changes here are honestly probably game balancing changes that may have been influenced by that Bring the Heat win. For example, Cherylee, the Cherylee seen in the lead here, one of the best supports for sheer damage in the game, but no longer has direct boosting pass. Instead it only has set, which can be denied by as long as you can get around the constant blocking that this Nethog team is likely to do. And there's also, instead of the in Bring the Heat 2, that support conjure had a little bit of body investment and True Strike, but now it's running Tornado Ball, which is pure utility, lets it be a bit bulkier and also lets it deal with bad matchups perhaps a bit more directly. So I'd be very interested to see what comes of that.
Maybe the True Strike before was kind of indexing into Mystics, now Tornado Ball for a little more utility. There's a lot of... I'm interested to see how that change works for it.
Same. And of course, a match is not complete with only one player. We also have Ket, a really recognizable face in the PvP lab, in the Wishes Discord. They love to share their thoughts, whether they are completely true or not. They are a pro slander merchant, and they have driven so much of exploration and development in this game's meta in the short time we've been around. So I noticed some interesting parallels with Arctech's loadout right away when we got jumped into Ket's first team, because they also brought a mine team with Voltox and Armantis. And not for nothing.
Though.
It's very different apart from that, though. Yeah, the back 3 Beasties are completely different. I think there's a lot more of a straightforward boosting synergy here, except for the unusual choice of like an attacking Mudsley, but Ket has been on the record noting that Spitball, even from Mudsley with a relatively low mind power, kind of punches above its weight class because of how powerful and effect the Angry is and how spammable it is.
It's an incredible move for disrupting, slowing the enemy team down. It's very thematic with the rest of the team, which has... The more I look at it, the more I like it. It has so many different ways to stop a game plan. The amount of block it can put up between Venom Touch, Mark, and Wall. 2 Echo Strikes. I don't want to pass over this one because Ket is pretty mean to Magpike here, the little bird in the corner, but is bringing Echo Strike Extrovert on a team that is fully mined. With the idea being, if you face a rally matchup, which unfortunately we're not seeing this one pan out against Arctech, who we didn't see rally on any of these teams. Extrovert doesn't make a difference because your team probably already benefits from it. It's just a mind attacker that's going to get a bonus from it. And worst case
But by the
scenario,
same token, if
Extrovert
they're
will
not
get rid of
running
the kids.
Rally, then Extrovert is just trait description. So there's
Mhm.
3 different types of trait description here, and traits being so strong in this game, that could end up being quite relevant.
Yeah. Despite both building around Armantis, they're very different teams. I'm really excited for this one.
The second team, I noticed the parallels with this one as well, because this is also a quite sustain-heavy team with a lot of body.
This, I mean, I'm going to say I'm excited about every single one of Ket's teams.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
a mono-body team, and we're gonna see a bit of a pattern here. Ket brought us 3 monotype teams today, but this does not look to me like a usual mono-body team now, does it? Like, Arctex gives us a kind of archetypal Cast Elite Charily, very hard-hitting team with whatever utility it needs in the back. This is a Dread team that takes advantage of Dread with Hardy, forward your quick tag, and a Grit, Exhaust, Relentless Muscle Bound.
Muscle Bound
I have heard tales of him.
This Relentless Grit set is one of Ket's favourites for a while. I'm really excited to see it in action. Now, Muscle Bound is often considered a bit of a risky choice as far as the body attackers go, because the competition is very fierce, and Muscle Bound is particularly vulnerable to losing its trait because, as you can see, its attacks are pink. If it loses its trait, it basically does nothing. And also that mind defense is one of the worst in the game, but it does. I am very excited. Like the rest of the team is so bulky. I'm sure it's going to make up for it.
Something just interesting that strikes me when I look at this one is, although there's some quirks to seeing the way this team is statted, the holes in defenses that Ket looks comfortable to leave open on some teams, there's some particularities to the format that make this extra interesting. We're not trying to cover that mind defense of Muscle Bound at all. We're not investing in it, no Platypulse, no redirection, nothing. We're just going all in on where it's bulky, where it's strong. Maybe Ket's hoping to bring it into a matchup where it's just not going to matter, into a team that cannot exploit that weakness.
Yeah, that extra choice of matchup in this format is going to be really exciting to see, especially if we start getting to like repeats later in the event. Finally, Ket's third team, arguably yet another parallel in that Ket once was very famous for running a lot of rally and spirit offense. In fact, Ket is our one returning player from Conquest Clash 1, where the three teams that they brought against their show match versus Dino, all 3 were just different flavors of spirit offense. And in true form, they're rounding out the tri-type with a very, very high-powered spirit offense here. Like 3 burnouts is crazy on a team.
Burnout's a move that's been getting a lot of attention lately. It seems as other really high-power front-loaded moves have started to been shaved down over time. Things like Grit losing a little bit, Super Commit getting some power off of it. Burnout has stayed up there with a lot of really powerful users. And while I haven't seen someone index in it so hard as to run 3, I think seeing how this team works is going to kind of really test how on the radar this move could be, because I'm just looking at this team, I'm expecting it to perform really well. There's quick tags, there's the flat damage from Rally to mitigate the deboost sometimes if you need to use it again. It's built in a really interesting way that's got a lot of ways to kind of have something else to do, get a rousing strike in between to get yourself jazzed so you can burn out again. How much it actually...
so you can get the next burnout in.
Yeah, exactly. How much it's going to actually come up as a downside is something that's going to be fascinating, I think, to watch here.
It is notable that Rally has also been under the radar among the players recently, just for recently increased... Well, Semi recently changed from a additive boost to a flat damage boost. It was changed to plus 15, but in the patch after that, it was bumped up again, perhaps underperforming a bit overall, or just to see what would happen. And now it is plus 20 flat damage, and the only way to reduce it really is to block it, because it's vulnerable to blocking, as sources of flat damage became vulnerable to that last patch. But like deboosting doesn't really cut into that flat damage. Moving back, you like if you backstep, if you're prevented from blocking, that's not going to reduce the damage nearly as much as you would like it to. It's been argued that the plus 20 makes it so that like basically no spirit attack is weak, even a -2 burnout after being used once. So
a lot of the conventional ways that we've defended ourselves from spirit before are very much switched out for very specific tools on account of blocking being the only thing that really mitigates it. So it's very much a team that when I look at this set of attackers, I'm just immediately imagining, even with just one rally setter, it's probably going to lead to some really fast games that are really difficult to weather.
Yeah, so I'm excited to get right into it, so we will soon be getting into it. See you in a second.
I'm already pretty interested in what these matchups are going to look like, with last little difference that I didn't really want to poke at too much is that Arctech has brought a lot of very well-balanced teams, not really leaving any defensive holes, where Ket has gone for a kind of more all-in way of statting and building each of these teams. 3 mono-type teams with a lot of damage and a lot of defenses left open. That Spirit team, relying on Rally to reduce mind damage, foregoes a lot of investment in mind defense. The Muscle Bound is just left to hang on that 43 mind defense. We are just looking for, with the specifics of the format, knowing where your opponent has to go with what team they have to win with, bringing in something that's not going to have to cover its weaknesses, because you know who your opponent is.
Yeah, it's funny how the players' like individual personalities kind of show even in things like stat investments. Like you say, like Arctech has incredibly consistent event presence, event results. Just finished today, in fact, like getting a 15-0 run during the Big Moon Bash, which is also going on this weekend. Often claims 2 leaderboard spots in those events, playing on his ult to warm up.
I think every person who like gets into a bash for the first time, looking at the leaderboard, who did well, I see this question all the time. Why is there 21 slots? I thought this was top 20. And then very slowly you start to realize, oh, there's 21 every time because Arctech is on there twice every time. He's just that consistent of a player that every time there's an event like this, he always kind of takes this opportunity to kind of prove his consistency and how well he keeps up with everything.
Yeah, that guy plays like a fortress. Maybe not a coincidence that he brought a fortress on Mantis. And meanwhile, Ket has self-described as Feast or Famine Ball before. Definitely on record as thinking that if it's enough to survive, then it's enough, and you don't necessarily need to dump 30 points into that defense just to cover it if it's not getting you any more matchups.
Ket is an incredibly interesting player that I feel like, despite how much I've gotten the chance to talk to her, I've never really, like you said earlier, maybe it's the reputation from an early Conquest Clash that they've been kind of characterized as playing certain things, being a rally-focused player or something along those lines. But in practice, I've seen Ket make a lot of different teams. We're seeing a lot of versatility here.
Team building, yeah.
Yeah, and they share their thoughts all the time on it. They're anywhere from like slow sweat teams to all kinds of like slow controlling mind teams to every form of offense. And very often I think Ket is a player that we can learn a lot of different things from, even in just the way that they will sit with any new idea and continue to refine it until it feels right to them.
Yeah, I really wonder how these sort of slightly different philosophies towards how to win at this sort of event are going to play out in practice. Right, we are getting into our first match now. So to get into a bit more detail about the format, each set is a best of 5 because in order to progress, you do need to win with all 3 of those teams. So it's naturally going to work out that you need 3 points to win. I was
just gonna say, that's such a unique thing to Conquest Clash. it involves like a lot of decisions, both in team building, ordering, and also just what you're expecting to have to play into that you don't usually feel in a tournament or in a bash where the field of possible things you have to beat is so much better. Every idea you bring, you're gonna have to win with. Every idea you bring, you can't use twice. There's not going to be any way to latch onto something that's gonna work repetitively.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the really cool things about this format. You get to not only see the breadth of these players' skill in building the teams, but also the breadth of ways they deploy them in practice. So we are seeing Architect's point of view for this match whenever he has that up.
One thing that occurs to me about this particular matchup between Arctech and Ket that I find pretty exciting and cool, considering kind of the roster of players we have for CC3, is that Arctech and Ket are both, as we described, pretty versatile players. Neither of them really strike me as the kinds of players that have like a play style, like a team that they have refined singularly, like to perfection over the course of every patch. Because the Beastieball community does have a lot of players with incredible insight and kind of deep specializations on things like that.
Yeah, that's a fair point to bring up. Like, I think all four of our players are quite versatile in practice, but the other two definitely have signature types of teams that Arctech and Ket are often not focusing on very much. And they prefer to like switch it up from patch to patch depending on what they see as above the strength curve. So it's interesting to sort of get a sense of their reads on the current meta as well as ours.
Ooh. I see Ket got all dressed up for CC3. There's just times I come to recognize what certain players' coaches look like. Is showing up to CC3 in a cardigan, sunglasses on, crown here, ready to go, and we're just gonna get right into game one.
Ket has serve, so the first serve is random, and the others will be winner serves. So Ket has chosen to go with the mine team first, which I guess doesn't have that many defensive holes compared to as we were going over the muscle bound before. And Arctech is bringing his double Vigor Beam to you, so we're going to see that right away.
Ooh. This is such an interesting matchup because immediately when I see Rumpus Hydrome here, I'm thinking a lot of the points of what makes these two so powerful is that they have such synergistic traits in Restoration and Rumpus. We're immediately seeing, leave that Hydrome alone, we're putting the damage on the Masquerade because you might as well give up on damaging this thing while it's in play, getting that passive healing from the Rumpus. It comes at the cost of giving it a Vigor Beam, but better to make sure your damage actually goes somewhere and sticks, deals something to the support, than just get absolutely nothing out of your serve.
We see Mystic got on the field already to deny our Mantis that your turn to die the Mystic, which may turn out to be true. Because our Mantis in the lead there had Ket's own main source of anti-field, and that could get rid of Drum here, which is potentially pretty dangerous to the Vigor Beam teams. And
so
Mystic is going to be a thorn in the side because neither Fruitfoot's nor Hopper are really spec'd for damage, so it's immune to these Vigor Beams if it can manage to get in. Magpike, on the other hand.
Magpike is funny because we're seeing immediately, right? You can use Cyclone to try to deny Slay the Princess, the Voltoxin's tactical passes. The damage coming in isn't too bad for Arctech to weather, but Restoration's gone. Not going for the Hex there. There's two Echo Strikers on this team, and so while you can get this set up, you can get the drums in, you can kind of play around the sweep by cycloning it out. Ket has a whole game plan for chip damage here. Get rid of the traits that shrug it off and just kind of keep pushing. And we're seeing that starting to stick on both the Hydrome and the Masquerade, punishing that Vigor Beam a little bit, not letting it get that restoration value on it. Having it pivot a little more predictably to that Masquerade is going to need to pick up the slack for attacking with Stomp. or by giving itself some power boosts from maintaining drums and being able to continue clicking it.
Ooh, we see not quite the right block on Electrolytes the Hydrome instead of Riverbug the Masquerie. It is notable that even though Masquerie is a killer support with Rumpus, one of the most admired traits in the teams this time, as we will later see. It's also a very efficient attacker in itself and can ramp. It's very dangerous to ignore. So that Mudslee, which is not exactly body weak, but it took a chunk from that.
It
Seems good for Arc.
It is funny to me seeing there's immediately here such a pivoted game plan from Arctech's side. Like you said, the Stomp is just the win condition now. The Hydrome losing its trait, sitting in the front, not really being able to heal quickly, can't use Vigor Beam as an option. But the plan B of just clicking Stomp repeatedly, having a support that can pick up slack as an attacker like that is still seeming to work out for Arctech, like this pivot into the Tree Crew folks. Wee Woo, maybe my favorite name I've seen on it.
Amazing name.
Yeah, giving that ramp a little more longevity in play. And immediately we're seeing Ket kind of switch up, recognize it as a bit of a threat, put some damage on it, Mystic to the front row, something that isn't going to be threatened at net by that, or really anything. And that's just, despite the fact that Arctech has a little bit of a lead here, I feel like the position is still recoverable for Ket to go down a point like that.
Yeah, offensive Invest Mystic is a little uncommon compared to the support sets, but it does a very sizable amount of damage here, and like Rumpus is gone, which indirectly kind of trait nerfs Hydrome, even though it tagged in and out to reset that trait. Ooh.
That is such an interesting stomp too. I was just mentioning that the Mystic walking forward, especially against a team that only has the option of body attacks, always carries with it. And this is something I've seen you do a lot actually, that slight threat to sidestep. Ooh.
Ket is much better at managing the risk than I am though.
And it seems to me like that looked like such a good line to protect the Magpie that Arctech was trying to punish it, but just ends up giving it the ball kind of, with Ket playing calmly, not feeling forced to move, comfortable to tag out. And then second mix up right away, Hex and Sideways being such a brutal thing to threaten at the same time because you can't play around both at once.
Just walking up without a care in the world. We also kind of see how spammable Echo Strike is as like the trait disruption of choice. It's a lot more common than the move trait dance lately, because as soon as Hydrome comes back in to fix its trait, it can get nailed again and restoration is gone again.
It's kind of hilarious how much damage that ends up doing. What a turn, though! A Cyclone that gets interrupted by a Hex. Yeah, but the Hex requiring a free ball. It seems like Ket's first adaptation is this Mystic is so good in the front. Its Echo Strike is so useful, but also she does not want to deal with the Hydrome forever. It looked like the amount of progress that she was able to make there was a little bit suspect, still with the healing coming through from drums and the constant double threat that they're just saying, I don't want any of this, get hexed.
Yeah, so the nasty thing about Hex, it sticks around until the tag out comes. You can't really stall it out, so it has to go. In comes the Apostle with the backup Vigor Beam, or maybe not. Seems like he's thinking about it.
Something kind of funny about just kind of spamming clear field like this is that the Armantis has so much time to just sit and use sneak attack. The drums not really giving any value to the sweep, but I think Ket looks comfortable with that. Arctech has had to spend a lot of time setting drums back up this matchup so far. It's not really the most progress-making thing to do. Ket ends up kind of healing a little more by just hitting clear field and being patient. That said, this Masquerie has never left play. And the more time Ket spends trying to attack and pressure it, the more Arctech gets a chance like this to hard tag in an attacker on the other side and just say, you can't just hit my Masquerie forever, I'm gonna punish it.
Yeah, the Armantis did not live a Vigor Beam through block there. That Apostle was just kept in the back until there was a moment to use it.
Even with Wall, if I remember right, I don't think that the Armantis is super defense invested. So, despite all the disruption we've seen work out for Ket throughout this entire matchup, there's still a pretty notable tempo lead for Arctech here. Losing traits, constantly denied drums, but there's still so much value he's getting off of just saying, maybe this is fine, I can just play to this, I just do my damage where I can, and Ket's team with just Clearfield isn't going to be able to sustain it forever.
It's funny because Ket has also slandered the amount of healing that Clearfield does more recently, because it did get nerfed from a 10 heal for the entire team, bench included, to 8. But slandering something does not stop them from using it. She is the beastie of her word.
I feel that often Ket is mean to certain things, but they're not really they don't really discount that they have uses. I think as we're seeing in this matchup, this Clearfield has actually produced a lot of value against just making sure that this team that heals a million off of drums doesn't actually get to do that. And sometimes, when I'm building a Mudsley, I'm looking at the support plays that they know, and I can't find anything better for it to do. Might as well bring something.
We do see some of the value of that chill Mudsley here, because even though Apossa has the provoke, it could not...
Right. The chill's good, but I think Ket was predicting a different aim there. Maybe thinking,
I was
I get to
block,
so you're gonna head away, right?
Yeah. Well, game 1 goes to Arctech, which means he cannot use this very cool Vigor Beam team anymore. The sustain is gone. It will be interesting to see what he picks next. Seems like he's going for the classic BTH2 body team.
Moving into body, it does make me wonder if Ket tries again here, because signing this up into the Mystic matchup, it's not like Arctech has made a body team that necessarily panics in the face of a Mystic that gives it all that much value. Obviously, like a Castle 8 Charlie opener is going to be a little annoyed with it, but there is a True Strike, there is Disruption, there's a Tornado Ball, there's other options, especially on a team that just brings the Mystic, isn't playing too much around it, no adaptation, slippery, anything like that.
Yeah, this is a very heavily refined body team. It has a history, as we mentioned, and that includes playing against a bunch of Mystic, because the thing about Mystic is that generally you only have one on the field, unless you're also running Adaptation Gremlin. And in fact, in a BTH2, there was a Score did extremely well with the Mystic team that Arctech faced off against. But all the same, it's going to be valuable here, like it was in last matchup. So let's see if Ket pulls it back up. We do see the Deluger coming in right away.
Yeah. This is really smart. When you're faced with a situation where you're gonna get mark spammed, which is exactly what this Armantis, Voltoxin, Metaphor, Slay the Princess combo wants to do, it's so hard to stay in, because you're going to have 2 block stacks on your attacker. There's not really much you can do with that % damage reduction to actually maintain so much of a presence against it. It is hard to tag out 2 under all the chip that Venom Touch does to you, but it makes so much sense to me that that's how Arctech is choosing to play it.
That Deluger is probably going to be key here, because not only is it the one teammate that can do like boosted damage into that Mystic, like Tornado Ball is good as well, can do a whole lot of damage. But it's got the Cyclone to manage the bench and set up a sweep before Ket's sustain and like Venom chip can get in the way.
I'm so interested in currently how this matchup has been played out so far. Along those lines, the Cyclone to put Mudsley away, the threat earlier to make sure the Armantis gets put away early, the tag out. In aggressive games like this, very often you see a lot of willingness to sacrifice Beasties because you're going to need that stamina later. But what we're seeing happen here is actually a very attritional game. There's a lot of chip damage happening, a lot of reluctance to give up a point in exchange for stamina. And like both sides of this game are getting pretty low with this kind of reluctance.
Neither of those benches look very healthy anymore.
The choice to tag out the Armantis, not give up the point, not give up this first point too quickly, allow another like cheerleader boosted serve, which might be really tough to take, but also Arctech being willing to give up the Delusia at that interval where it's going to be hard to tag back in. That actually seems like it's going to be pretty tough into a team that has a Mystic, where you're going to want that True Strike.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw him considering whether it was your turn to die's turn to die, but went for the probably less risky of just getting rid of that annoying Voltoxin.
It always feels so good when you call out a sidestep like that, but you know, something I'm observing about Ket is that Ket is not really a player who will flinch until you give her a reason to. Although Ket does sometimes play a little flashy, a little greedy, they'll wait and make you give them an actual reason to do it. But as we were kind of observing a second ago, this game was actually going to end really quickly if either player, like Arctech, just kept tagging out into new stamina bars. So switching out, making sure that Shonen Castle Lead is going to come back later, get some value again, makes sense to me. Their health is looking a little concerning, but they've also done a lot of damage to Ket's team so far here. Sideways option. Okay. Kept perfectly comfortable.
Calling out that they fix the position because that Voltoxin's not quite chipped down. And now getting rid of the annoying Mystic.
In the meanwhile, there is so much little damage threatened between Tornado Ball and Reach Shot that Dissolution, Mudsley, just swaps in at 27, walks straight up.
No fear in the world.
Just completely chill. Just not a worry. Tactical pass, actually, I'm pretty sure going to threaten out.
Traps could be really nasty to Arctech's team here suddenly. Even one layer, yep.
Delusia, thankfully, doesn't see it, but doesn't really make a difference. If anything, Delusia actually failed to take out a stack of traps there within the clouds if it was going to be the same result. Yeah, this is looking actually quite difficult for Arctech here.
Yeah, a chip bench can deteriorate so quickly in this game, especially with the high boosting power on both of these teams here with the boost passes.
With that said, as we move forward, I was about to say this Castle is one of the best threats that Arctech can put down usually. But it tagged in through traps into an Echo Strike. Even as it gets low, it threatens to hit shield. It's not going to get into any kind of power-up range. A lot of damage just wasted there on that Mystic.
Tagging it out on 38, that is... Oh, and the Hex!
I think recognizing the potential threat that it could have
The live on
had.
1!
Oh... the Spitball, just a little bit off. 1 health Cheerilee saving it from game point. But... Arctech's in a difficult spot. The Shonen kind of comes in briefly, threatens something, tries to make use of the drained stamina that Ket is dealing with, but just runs into a Mystic, and you can kind of see here how Ket just sort of is happy to say, I'm just gonna Hex it, it's your only threat, I don't have to worry about it.
Walk up with the Hex Mystic into the Reach Shot. Just know you're not getting away with it that quickly.
Yeah. Saying, I don't want to deal with another cheerleader Tornado Ball.
Left to sack.
From Ket's perspective here, I think the line forward starts to look pretty clear. Arctech doesn't have any more stamina coming up than this. There's nothing like, this is all you got. The last bit of health just remains on a Conjar who's pretty bulky back there, not the best mind tank in the world, and the Delusia who just came up but is sweaty. So the sidestep, just trying to make sure that the Mudsley's okay, not wanting to give anything other than the Mystic up there, the last point that Ket can sacrifice. but it does change the situation from a boosted Delusia to a new Surf. The Tornado Ball, perfectly fine, nothing's too threatened by that. Gives Ket a pretty pivotal and important turn I think we're going to see here to push on this turn. Try to make sure that Arctech, although I don't see an immediate threat of a point because Arctech's board is healthy enough, something that pushes hard enough to make Arctech need to tag something in or fail to if he doesn't have enough stamina. This is kind of the pivotal moment for Ket. Shonen wants in. I don't know if Shonen's going to survive this spitball with the tactical pass behind. Yes. It does with 2. Oh my lord. Confident pass, power up, launch. Does anything live that? The Mystic is not available for this. It might just be where you put the Magpie. Incredibly pivotal moment for Arctech as that Thump is doing 114.
Yeah, because it has no body defensive vest at all.
Oh wow!
What a turnaround!
I saw 100 on it, and I thought that was enough time for Ket to make it another guess, but that's actually so tough for Ket. A very close game, played around a lot of things, but ultimately couldn't sustain that Nero last couple of stamina. Arctech living on game point with 1 health on a Cherry and then 2 health on a Castle, and that being the margin of a game 2. That puts Arctech up 2-0.
That is terrifyingly precise play. That is. And he now has to move on to his third team. He has none of us left. It's the Mind team, and Ket, knowing that because all the players know each other's teams, has brought in the Rally team to try and nerf that damage and claw back some tempo, I suppose.
At this point, Ket has to sweep this team with all that she has remaining, and maybe
it's going to be an uphill struggle for sure.
Yeah, maybe feeling that last team, maybe just set it aside for now, try to at least get on the board with something with a better matchup, show off some more teams, play it against Arctech a little more. Totally makes sense to make the swap into this. Looks like a pretty good matchup. Burnouts and Rally versus Pure Mind.
We see the dodge roll immediately, a newer move added to Daredevil, which gives it a really strong counter serve. It just lets a lot of things come in very safely.
Kind of like a Hawkeye, get that easy receive, you pivot into anything, you don't have to run the Hawkeye on the lead you end up on, like this Hopra and this Kumas get to do whatever they want. Makes a lot of sense though, it feels like you see this team, just put Rally up and swing. Ooh, cover some sideways while you're at it, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that sideways on the Ilu is a big threat otherwise, with all the pivoting this one might want to do.
Now, Arctech's team is not completely stranded against Rally though, because this Alugus is pulling double its weight by bringing this sweep. A move that isn't affected by Rally, it's not reduced by it. And right after hitting, pretty enormous amount here considering how much Ket's lower mind defenses are kind of relying on Rally to keep it up. Makes it a really pivotal member of this matchup. Already some damage on it though.
And it is such an appealing target because that trap value is even if you disrupt it, a lot of the time will keep going. But the more you ignore that Pladion, the more it's going to be a threat. After just a turn or so, it's swinging with the best of these mind attackers here, even with just Stinger.
Come to think of it, I'm realizing the more I kind of run this team through my mind that I think of all the teams that Arctech has brought, this is the one that feels the most different to me. I don't think I've seen him make a Mono Mind team quite like this before. One that kind of harasses the opponent with stingers, and like you said, between Trapper and Charge, generates a lot of value passively. It's hard to just sit against this team. Daredillo sidestep, one of the best sidesteppers in the game because of Acrobat, but also something that's incredibly easy to punish.
But two burnouts on the field now, and Rally could go back up, which the Yellow can no longer move it right away. Maybe a good time.
The Illu is now... Well, Lies is now incredibly hard to get back in. Looks like Arctic's just gonna go for it.
Going for it anyway, yeah.
Makes sense to me if Arctic doesn't take the hit there, then here we are, we're back on sweep. We can get rid of this rally again. It's more damage that you're going to get from anything else. Even if the Illu ends up taking that burnout, even if that's like enough to take it out, that's probably the thing that you want to wipe the most.
Surviving that sweep, despite Fetchum's, yeah, that dodge roll. It has the downside of it only targets the closest beastie, but often when you're net to net, that's enough.
Looking at this, I feel like 87 or so to 56 is such a common block threshold I've seen before, just because that's where you get left on by double mark. And just knowing that block isn't going to be enough, rally's going to boost this. This is where Arctic gets a chance to get rid of the Illugus, just frazzles.
But that Pladion chip damage from earlier is a little scary about it.
This is a very common situation, I think, against Rally. Wow, not even choosing to try to go for the second hit on it here. Maybe the idea being you take the second point right away, then Frazzle finishes up and you have to free ball afterwards. I believe that stressed once it starts ticking immediately after you've scored will tick once more. Demanding set works that way. So it goes down a point, but I think the idea here is Cat doesn't feel the need to rush. The Pladion is low, its partner is low, not too much left on the bench here. Arctec isn't in a spot that's easy to defend. There's just an Armantis with health on it.
At the same time, it is game point for him already. These offense mirrors can go by so fast.
Usually in offense mirrors like this, I find the reason why they can often feel a little close is because of how much both teams need to sacrifice these points, get this stamina back.
Yeah, there was really no choice there, yeah.
And just like that, no choice but to tag in Armantis, and now...
On a burnout serve.
Right. Ooh, almost no choice but to tag in the Illugus, but the Voltoxin does live that. Question is, plus 20 burnout, does the extra amount of stamina you have on the Illugus coming back up, is that so much better than 2? Because every time I'm playing against something like this, it just feels like I take 1 hit, I take 2 hit, and the point's gone.
Yeah. Really debating whether the sideways, whether the get rid of the rally, try and close it out, or I guess yeah.
Just
the call out!
Again, just something I kind of noticed about Ket as a player, that Ket does not flinch unless you give her a reason to.
Yeah.
45, that's not enough. I'm just gonna walk up. I'm going to, looking at the stamina left, I think that's enough. Oh, but the burnout deboost that I keep forgetting. It's almost enough, but the Pladion's coming back up too. What a game point.
The Armantis is healthy. It could. This might be the time for risky sidestepping if there was one. But yeah, that rally. Not only is the Plumask basically invincible for 2 turns with the stagecraft damage cap.
Yeah, there's also so much protection for it.
Yeah.
I was about to say, look how good this dodge roll is. Plumask
do a
completely
huge
covered
amount
by
of work
stagecraft,
here, yeah.
But anything you want in comes in. I was just thinking, is there any chance of a point kind of hitting through the back here? Is there any kind of faint pierce? But no, stagecraft completely ruling out all of that. Dodge roll just removing any chance of damage.
To get the jazz so that...
Right.
So
right, the
a burnout next turn is going to be ruinous.
-4 doesn't matter. At the net, jazzed +2 burnout. I'm not even sure that an Armantis, especially one without something like wall or shield is really going to do much about that.
It only has 100 spirit defense, so it's not even maxed. I think Plumas burnout net to net to survive is 125.
Sounds livable through a block, but block is tough because I don't think the Palladium's going to live that long. So Ket can just maneuver this very comfortably. There isn't really an answer to this burnout without just maybe hoping you get a sidestep correctly. Oh, 150. Is that is this that just exact that?
Yeah, that's exact.
Oh, 95 is exactly the most unfortunate interval. Even if you step in front and you get this defense boost, that's not going to be enough. Daring pass on it and everything. Wow. I'm not sure that even increases its damage when it's jazzed and got so many Z-boosts, but okay. Ket's spotting a good opportunity to get on the board here. Finding a pretty good matchup, Rally versus Mind. At the very least, you can kind of start something.
So Arctech is still stuck on this Mind team. He needs to win with it to clinch this set, and Ket is working her way back up, this time with the Mind Mirror. So yeah, the superficially similar leads, but it seems like the game plan of these two is pretty different, because we just saw that Arctech's Mind team, it's relying a lot on sort of hunkering down, getting that chip and those deboosts in to make the bench unlivable. Whereas Ket's version of this Mind team is just like super boosty, a bit more aggressive, but we'll see which one. The sweep is not going to do nearly as much here, but similarly the Mystic is not nearly...
Yeah, a lot of tools on both of these teams that aren't quite meant for each other. I feel like I'm squinting at it. I think I see the idea with that Echo Strike is if you're expecting Stare Down or Mantis, you get rid of Fortress. You make that turn so much worse. But Arctech, playing this patiently. Opening with a lot of value. Trapper, Lay Trap, Charge. Counterserve with Frazzle, make it Ket's problem. Make this something that Ket has to kind of work with to budge Arctech from the lead first.
Frazzle doing like a deceptive amount of work on something that just gains value passively, like this Cladion. Like it's attack passer, but if you ignore it, that's going to be bad. And also, if you ignore it, then your whole bench is going to be sleepy. It's a difficult thing to tangle with, even though.
Yeah.
And even though Sweep is not doing much in this matchup, particularly, it's still doing a huge amount of damage with Trapper.
Yeah. That's really interesting. There's a lot of concepts here that I've like dreamt about making work that Arctech is actually just applying so precisely, like using Trapper and Lay Trap to make Sweep an actual threat. Something that you'd think you don't want to use too much when you have a full set, but a point is a point. Progress is progress.
He is just such a tight team builder. It's really something to see in action.
That said, at the very least, there's some compensation for Ket here for that point, which is that with Echo Strikes Abound, a lot of the value that Arctech hoped to get out of this lead is gone. There are no traps, there is no Trapper. The Palladion got to spam Frazzle, but it's not exactly like sitting in with Charge any further. You kind of have to swap it out if you want any of that value back.
I was interested when I saw this team of Arctechs that even though the Illu is Trapper trait, it's also running Lay Trap just to lean in, just to make sure that whether it's sweeping or not is getting something out of this. That was an interesting choice. It seems to pay off here because it's making the tag back in for that Spitball monthly a little bit less.
I like it. The trap's adding just a lot of value, since the more you have, the better it gets. And also just making absolutely sure, like we saw if Illugus gets it away from, worst case scenario, you can use Lay Traps to double the power of Sweep, if you just need a lot of damage in a pinch. Feint also elsewhere on the team, not over-investing too much in a support play that's just going to get you value right away.
He's thinking about... but goes for Sting Ruffle Toxin. It's not such an offensively built Voltoxin, but it's it does let you cover the front.
Yeah, it feels like what I'm kind of seeing or getting from Architect's line here is that similar to Sweat, Weepy is so much more painful to deal with when both of your beasties are Weepy and counting at the same time.
Yeah, as they are here.
Like, this Magpike has another turn in play, and if you keep it in, it's gonna drain. But you also have to deal with the full Toxin, and it's hard to just be swapping out of it all the time, because just taking those unmitigated hits is so painful. That said, wow, just going for the late trap option right away, I think Arctic wanted the Alugus back to see some kind of, to get some stamina back on it, seems important to the matchup. Not expecting, though, the late trap being too much for it to take in as it comes in. Maybe the free ball isn't that bad here, maybe it ends up being an okay result.
It did get a little bit of chip damage on that Mudsley, but yes. That vault is very low now and the bench is not looking so good again.
I don't think this matchup is actually now playing out in the way that I sort of saw it going at the very start. I thought yeah, I thought that early Echo Strike's not doing too much damage to these Mind Walls. Started off kind of looking like Arctech got a lot of time off of it, got a point out of the lead and it was looking good. But now I'm seeing some adjustment of Arctech kind of realizing this is gonna take a while. This isn't really gonna be that much of a fast matchup. His team is not really built to serve sweep that quickly. He wants those traps back up, and losing them on that sweep earlier is actually denying a lot of value. Now, Ket gets to play patient. Ket's the one who's getting a lot of tempo off of just putting the traps down, getting a really nice turn skip on that Alugus. And it's having to tag out at 10 here just to kind of maintain any kind of presence in play. Oh, Crawlark disappearing, just kind of holding on against these traps, hoping this Spitball isn't quite enough, which it isn't. But it's gonna take a while to get these beasties back up from wiped. This might actually be Ket turning around with this team for the first time.
Yeah, so decided to leave that vault in to self-drain, just to not give up the point right away. Although, giving it up on the Mudsley instead.
It's a temporarily bad spot, like you're saying, just having to give up the Voltoxin, not much stamina left.
But if you compare that bench health, it's like night and day. Even with the point lead. That Crow is one turn away from coming back. If you can have one.
Just
but that bottom slot is looking very terrifying.
Yeah, it is an exact kind of amount of time Arctech needs here, exactly counting down on those score points as Wiped continues to tick through scoring points. That exactly here, where Arctech any sooner would have been completely out of stamina and would have been game. Crawlark is back to saving.
It's now match point for Arctic.
Kind of out of nowhere, it looks like, with this game having gone on just long enough for Arctech to
suddenly all of his bench comes back,
right? And it looks like we're kind of in the opposite situation. It's like you said, the 1 point does it for either player. Ket's not really at too much liberty to tag into things willy-nilly, but also waiting on these wipe timers could very well just stand to stay in a round. Be okay with that. Use what's left of this bench health in the end game.
Is this the right time to Hex? It's a risk at that low health, but I wonder.
Besides the Armantis, either the Armantis is too much of a problem, or maybe Ket's just trying to be a little accurate. The Crawlark might be a little more threatening, maybe reading that Arctech's gonna respect that and get this Hex value right away. Very
notably that Crawlark has the only provokes, which shuts down a lot of the nasty stuff like the tag passes on the Ket side. Right. Maybe hoping to chase it off and nail the other. Although this is where the passive value from Ilu does become relevant. Because
Yeah,
even if it is
traps
sitting on the
scary.
field with a tired guy, those traps are doing a lot of work.
Even just a single one, not even allowing the Mystic the slightest chance of taking a free ball anymore. But came into an extrovert. I keep forgetting Extra counts. I was like looking, I was squinting looking for the spikes, and I was like, wait a second. Oh,
true,
it echoes
true,
back.
yeah.
Has the opportunity still to apply that pressure with late trap, but I'm gonna be honest, Skarme. I'm sitting here. I don't know who's winning.
It's really hard to tell.
Up, right?
Look, Arctic having to leave that Hex Darmantis on the field like the entire time because
It just
while the
there's
rest
such
of the bench gets whistled down again.
Yeah, it's such an attritional kind of battle here where Arctic has gotten just enough stamina back to keep defending the other slot, but can't quite find the time to retire the Armantis.
We see Ket's sweep coming in really clutch here.
Oh, is that it?
Double
double traps for the immediate upfront damage, and just sweep it away.
It's
And
anyone's
that's enough.
game again. But both players, they need to win with their final team.
Absolutely
We went down
huge.
to the fifth game.
Okay, I mean,
Cat
this
has
is the
no
best
choice.
possible result for
Yeah.
the first match, right?
Yeah, this is what we're here for.
Yeah.
So
Get to
Cat
see every single
must
team.
switch
Get to
to
see
the
them
Body
on
Dread
TV.
team.
Oh, I'm so excited to see this one in action. This is such an interesting body team. It's so unconventional. It's really the best word I could think of for it.
Well, Arctech getting the counter serve because of that last game does open up the possibility of that stare down insta-give,
Oh.
which we didn't see before.
Awkward thing. Armantis, Felix, used to be able to just kind of, used to have power forward, used to have to get that easy receive as a part of the trait, which True Strike would have prevented. With Fortress, there's none of that anymore. So instead, Cat's kind of just at the mercy of the amount of damage it wants to do. You can't True Strike past a Fortress, it doesn't work like that anymore. So just sitting there, cycloning, just trying not to deal with this, trying to sit under the damage that Feint is going to add, just weather out this lead.
With Deluge's good bulk and the Cyclone, it did at least get that off the field, but not before taking a big chunk. Especially after that feint.
If I'm not mistaken, this is a shake-off Delusia, this syrup.
Yeah, shake-off Cyclone.
For going just a little bit of extra chances to do damage in order to really make sure if it's taking those hits that it's going to stay in stably. Switch it. Very common thing with Suplero too for the team, just switches out, takes a hit for it, comes back, everyone's healthy and doing good. This is immediately, although that stare down looks super scary and the faint and nervous is such a terrifying threat, Cat's team is not really looking all that scratched. The Delusion's just sitting pretty. The Suplera's happy to come in, leave, and with that ability to keep tagging out profitably, it makes moves like Feint that much worse because you are happy to just tag out, give some health up.
Yeah, quick tag is such a nasty tool to have against this team that wants you to tag out at the right times to just lose your progress or forward arc tags. So interesting matchup.
Ooh, quick tag, steal, thump. Just lots of fun combos. Steal kind of like a very historied friend of quick tag. Just a way to quickly get the net bonus in, turn the Suplero into something that's so much more threatening than it usually is. The more I think about this matchup, having kind of seen how Arctech's team works, the more I'm starting to think that this Suplero is a kind of a problem. Forager is so good against this team. It denies so much value. With dig and everything. It just it puts Cat in such a comfortable spot where, I mean, look, 45 tag out 95 off of Forager. Coming through any amount of traps.
Net after getting down to 30, it's just crazy.
Any damage you do, if I tag in at the net and I take it, I dig, I quick tag, my skin is clear. If I came in through traps, forager, who cares? And that means, at least,
We're seeing the fascinating choice of the muscle against this very charged up, menacingly the Gladion. 43 mind defense, by the way.
Lots of chances.
That's
usually
got to be a sack, right?
I think so. Or at least it's some kind of.
The
what if I swap back in? What if I'm going back into Supilera? What if it's a bait? That's actually so funny if that's what gets playing for. Like, you want to hit it, right? You want to hit it. Okay, it's a sign.
You hit it. Oh my god, that's so much fun.
I mean, maybe that's the only value it's going to get this entire matchup. It's pretty unfortunate that the Ket crawling back, making this 2-2 again, does have to win with a sort of mind-dumped muscle bound into a mind team as the final game. One piece that makes this matchup very good in the Supilero, one piece that makes it pretty tough in the muscle bound.
Yeah, the Delusion also evens out the mind defense problem a bit, but now it's very low. It's going to have a hard time. There is only one more point that the sack, and that Lunap. Chapter 2 does not have Torch Pass. What you see is what you get apart from this.
Right. It makes me wonder if Dread is something that Ket is at all interested in setting in this kind of matchup, because
I'm not sure it really does anything here, because Arctic's team doesn't have shield, it doesn't have redirection to turn. And like the chip damage applies to both sides. I think if with this team counting so much on passive pressure already, I think Arctic is just maybe in a better position to take advantage of it, despite the less.
There's like some beasties here and there that seem not to mind it. The team generally has a lot of built-in self-healing.
I suppose keeping it up against sweep is also a tall order.
It's such a long-lasting effect.
Because unlike other field effects, Dread leaves you vulnerable when you click it. I think that Luna being in the front is not an appealing proposition. Right. Although even within the back, it doesn't look like it's in a very good spot right now.
Luna's a very bulky beastie, but its mind defense has always been a tough one. It's actually more invested in that than I'm used to it being. But we're seeing Ket is trying really hard to redeem.
Again.
I was gassing up how much the Supilero was like theoretically able to shore up this matchup. I think this muscle bounce is becoming a problem.
Yeah. Even with a back row slice, you rarely see anyone serving with sideways in a real match because it's so exploitable. But in this case, like the damage, I guess, is worth it because what's the muscle bound going to do?
Yeah, it's a little bit stronger than a sweep. They probably want to hit the muscle bound. It's taking the hardest hit from it. I mean, why would you sweep into what looks like Scarlet Hollow, opposer with Hardy? It's probably not gonna really worry about it. And so this is a pretty tough moment for Ket. A frazzle you don't want to see here right after you hit exhaust. You kind of gotta get the
exhaust off, so the muscle bound will come back. But how much use it will be is another question.
I'm not sure that like 70 or so healing it's about to get is worth that much. Oh, the sweep is enough, but the traps are gone because of the tag-in. It consumes the last trap as super. I've never seen that. And there's no field effect. I didn't even know it worked that way, but it makes sense. So that's half the damage that we saw. Incredibly easy thing to miss, but how much is that going to matter?
I didn't see that happening at all.
I saw it happen, I was like, wait, what possibly happened? Did it wall or something? Then it just hit me. The last thing on the screen was -8.
You heard it super there as an anti-Coolbz. Tagging in the white. Oh, because of Relentless!
The Relentless. Getting a
Holy moly.
bit of value here. As much as a Relentless can give you from the back row. I've actually been in this spot versus Ket before, where it seems like you're so close to winning, but a single forager Supilero just keeps coming in and quick tagging out, and you just never, until you actually push the rest of the team down, get much progress in. But this is a frightening spot too. the tactical
No stopping the
pass.
speed this time.
Yup, 143. The traps are staying in. There's more than one this time, and so it comes down to it doesn't target it.
And
living on
Arctic
the
takes
threat.
match 1. That was the nail biting 50-50 there.
Yes. I'm so glad to see Ket bring it down to the last team versus the last team, but in the end, even with some really interesting resources for that matchup, cool ways to play it, if you're relying on the thread of a forager to keep coming in and taking hits, you're gonna have to guess right a couple times.
It was just a really rough matchup left at the very end for Ket there because of having to win with all 3. I think we did manage to show off the highs and lows of this, the peaks and troughs of this format. When I say it emphasizes breadth, I think in every way possible.
Yeah. I've leaned back in my chair and I'm finally taking a breath because just seeing the last game, the juggle, the dance of just trying to survive on a single trait is always such a nail biter. But I feel like it's always players like Ket and Arctech who make the kinds of teams and optimizations that leave things hanging by just that much of a thread.
Yeah, and I can also point out that that Ket is not out of the event yet. It is double elimination. We are not going to see them again today because they will pop up again in the underdog bracket on day 2. So they are not out of it yet. No one is out of it yet until they lose twice. Meanwhile, Arctech will move on to our winners finals, and the winner of that is going to cap off our day 1. So our time at the mic is coming to a close, but what a match to start off the event. Once again, very sorry for the delays getting this set up. It's quite an ambitious event. There's a lot of fiddling around to do.
So many moving parts, yeah.
But I hope you enjoyed that.
Hopefully the game's made up for it, yeah.
And look forward to the rest of the match because after a short break we will be back with the second match of round 2 and you won't want to miss that. So I've been Skarme.
I've been Mabel.
See you guys later.